So the end of July in 2025 marks the, I believe, the start of the eighth year when I started the original site, and now under this new name for 2 years. But we'll celebrate that at the end of the year. Otherwise, the top 10 albums of July this year generally focus on death metal. That's just what's coming out lately. There isn't a ton of interest in other worlds for me lately. Frankly, there just isn't a lot of very strong quality that I think will last that I can present to people lately. And I think it's just a matter of either my own taste or what's available. But there are some great bands on this list, which I hope will be inspiring to some at least. At number 10, we have Dehuman Reign's Dawn of a Malefic Dominion. This is a German death metal band, one that you could compare to stuff like Vader and even Angel Corpse in the way that they attack those classic Florida death thrash metal sounds, as well as the riff in general. This is kind of a little bit of a step back from some of their more brutal stuff early on, and it has more of a thrashing, fiery affect to it. Fine death metal album, pretty straightforward, but a great time every time I sat down with it.
Wake up the demons, release the pressure. You will feel this drive for your own pleasure. Unleash your fury.
At number 9, we have Defosphorus's Planetoctonos, and this is kind of a more original band. It's they have an interesting sound that is all their own. It's hard to compare to other things. There are elements of like post-punk and post-hardcore in there. For the most part, it's a death grind band with their own sense of the surreal as well as the immediate. There aren't a lot of bands out there anything like this, and I think their focus on science fiction literature and their own statements woven in above and beyond what anyone could expect from this subgenre in 2025. At number 8, we have Decryptile's Simulacra, and this is just a great death metal album. It's a solid death metal album with plenty of riffs. They have a unique style. They've leaned into a little bit more doom here in some places. There's a great amount of like textural movement within their riffs. It's a strong band overall. There's some little slightly melodic stuff in there, but for the most part, Finnish and United States death metal influenced stuff. While some folks might disagree that dark metal was kind of founded between the ideas of emergent death metal as well as the atmosphere of black metal and gothic metal kind of lining up in a strange way, Swedish death metal duo Floating are an interesting example of kind of technical death metal meeting up with gothic rock and post-punk as well as some avant-garde style and making appreciably memorable songs out of it, and definitely affected pieces that have a lot of emotion poured into them. And so it's a really interesting prospect that this band continues with this second full-length album down a similar road. It isn't a self-indulgent collapse in any sense. It's more of a venture out into the unreal. And I think that's what makes it so cool, is it's not folding in on itself so much as sprawling out in an oily mess. And it's a really cool record. Confinement of Flesh is a debut full-length album from Finnish death metal band Malformed, and this is one that focuses on merging some classic United States death metal influences with Scandinavian ones, and specifically a lot of Finnish death metal on here. It doesn't necessarily mean that they sound like Early Sentenced meets Cannibal Corpse, but they kind of do, and that's what's great about it. Is this is not only a great combination of style and ideas, it's a great guitar record. They've got plenty of riffs, a lot of great solos. It's a solid death metal band with a ton of promise, and this is a fine debut. At At number 5, we have the sophomore full-length album from Hack's Process, a Florida-based death metal band, a quartet that now put out their second record here with Beyond What Eyes Can See. I think the interesting thing about this record is that they've stuck with the long-form compositional idea. They've injected a little bit more classic death metal, a little bit more Morbid Angel into some of their sounds, and they've moved away from some of the rocking solos and some of the prog rock feeling moments here. And so it's still progressive death metal. It's still kind of technical thrash metal in some of its movement, but they've honed in on a progressive death metal sound a little bit more while exploring untrodden territory for their band. At number 4, we have Sempiternal Decay, the latest album from Chilean death metal band Canero. These folks have basically been around since death metal's been around in Chile. They were one of the earliest bands in their area, but not the earliest overall. That classic sensibility and the original interest of the band in thrashing death metal is fully fed here into this record. It's short, solid, tons of riffs. It's classic death metal in an 80s and early 90s style. They've always done a fantastic job of this. This is just one of their better records to date. One of their more succinct and aggressive statements overall. At number 3, we have Archaic Suetis. This is the sophomore full-length album from this band that is made up of folks from the Junger Tumalon Collective, formerly known as the Helvetic Underground Committee. And this is a Black and Death doom metal record, which is themed with primitivity. Bronze Age European primitivity is kind of the general idea of what their themes are for the band. But the important thing is this is a fantastic Black and Death doom record with plenty of riffs, and it kind of sounds like Bolzer or the Ruins of Everest here and there. There is that expansive, many-layered, voluminous aggression applied here that is well served for their theme. Couldn't stop listening to it, probably underrated it in the review. It's an exceptional work that has stuck around for me beyond the review process. At number 2, we have the return and the fall of Eternal Darkness, as basically this ancient, legendary Swedish demo-only band returns with a fine full-length album. It's an exceptional work. It's a pure death doom metal record with their kind of sludgy quality of their demos. They've really done such sweet justice to their legacy, and with this record, it's phenomenal the way that the work that they've done here in reprising everything that had interested me about this band like 20 years ago when I first discovered them, and now making a new record with it. It's a feat that very few will ever accomplish, and it's something that I greatly appreciate as a fan. So this one has some extra bias applied to it. This is very much the niche that I'm interested in, and great stuff overall. Alright, at number 1, we have Mental Devastations, The Delusional Mystery of the Self, Part 2. This is a Chilean thrash metal band, a classic thrash metal band for the most part, who focuses on a late 80s style of thrash metal. The Bay Area stuff that was a little bit more technical and progressive, but also, if you're a fan of heathen or violence, or especially forbidden, you'll definitely know and appreciate this sound right away. They've leaned into some of their more technical aspects. There's some more progressive thrash metal influences here. There's minutia available here to the thrash metal fanatic that will make this an exciting record for 2025, and one that I very highly recommend. I think it's one of the best records of the year for my taste, and I'm happy to cherry pick the best thrash metal records here throughout the year, as this is really what's been inspiring me most throughout 2025. So it gets number 1 because it just fits at number 1 in this spot for my taste, and it's just a really stellar album and one of the better bands in this style that's still extant. So check it out for yourself and see what you think.